Hey everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in. Today I wanted to discuss Insomniac's upcoming release, Spider-Man 2. It's a little indie game, you've maybe heard about it, but it's launching in less than 2 months. In all seriousness, it's crazy to me that we're already here. We're finally going to get to play the follow-up to one of my favorite superhero games of all time. I think Insomniac's Spider-Man stands neck and neck with the Batman Arkham games in terms of just incredible superhero games. And Spider-Man 2 looks like everything that the first game got right and better. I hope that it fixes a few of my critiques with the first game, primarily the open world side content, but it looks like they're really trying to achieve, again, everything that the first game did and more. And today I wanted to discuss a potential playable character in Spider-Man 2, but not just discuss whether or not we will get to play as him. I feel like that's a topic that's already been discussed to death. I want to talk about what it would actually be like to play as this character, that character, of course, being Venom. This is a character that we've actually been able to play as in the past. In the Ultimate Spider-Man game, you were able to play as Venom as well as Peter Parker. In Spider-Man 2, the upcoming game, we are going to get to play as Peter Parker and Miles Morales, so there's already a precedent for multiple playable characters. I don't think it would be a crazy stretch to say that there might be a third playable character in the works that we get to swing around Manhattan as, and most likely that would be Venom, unless they're going to introduce Spider-Gwen or something. And you know what? I'm sure that they do a great job with Spider-Woman if she's a secret playable character of Spider-Man 2, but I don't think it would generate nearly as many headlines or hype as it would if we just straight up got to play as Venom. And the reason for that is that Venom is just such a highly anticipated playable character if he is going to be playable in Spider-Man 2, because he's essentially Spider-Man on steroids. Initially, the Venom symbiote is bonded to Spider-Man, and so it's able to sort of harness his abilities, and then when it transfers to a new host, it seems like those are just amped up to 100 in terms of both violence and power. And with how good that base gameplay loop Insomniac has built for Spider-Man is, I can only imagine how fun it would be to stomp around New York City as Venom. I just think that it would be incredible. And so let's talk about what this could look like and what it could play like. First of all, the logistics of this. One thing we know is that Peter Parker will have the symbiote, and that there's going to be an upgrade path for that. Now, we don't know how the game is going to end. Maybe it will end and he will still be wearing the symbiote. Maybe he will get rid of it at some point. But the question remains, what will happen to that upgrade tree if he gets rid of it? Well, maybe if Venom is a playable character, maybe if Carnage is the overall secret big bad of this game or something, and the Spider-Men team up with Venom to take him out, maybe Venom will be a playable character. Maybe the final boss will be Venom versus Carnage or something. That way you could retain all of the upgrade abilities that you got when you were playing as Peter Parker with the symbiote. Now, maybe they won't do that. Maybe it will just be a sacrifice you have to make to get rid of the suit, and you'll have to feel sad that you're losing a lot of these great abilities that you've invested in, just like how Peter Parker will be feeling pretty less powerful without the symbiote. So maybe that will be used to build empathy. It's just not something that's usually done in games like this generally. If they're going to ask the player to invest time into upgrading a specific ability, that ability will come back. Whether that's just that you get to free roam with the black suit after the story is done, or if they're going to introduce a playable Venom. Another option is that they could do a DLC that focuses on Venom. They have stated that Eddie Brock is not Venom in Spider-Man 2. Well, maybe whoever it is, whether it's Harry Osborn or whatever, Matt Gargan, whoever gets rid of the Venom symbiote at the end of Spider-Man 2, maybe it will bond with Eddie Brock in a DLC that takes place after Spider-Man 2's base game. They could even do it as a standalone title that takes place after Spider-Man 2, kind of like Spider-Man Miles Morales, but we could really get introduced to Eddie Brock. We could see what happens the first time he gets the symbiote and how it progresses. Maybe he's more of an anti-hero in the story, or maybe we could be a straight-up villain. Overall, I want this to be something that we can free roam as. I feel like it would be a little bit underwhelming if this was like scripted moments in the story. I wouldn't be completely opposed to that, because that could be really fun too, and they could really harness Venom's pure destruction ability. But it would be so much more fun, I think, to get to run around New York City and have a dramatically different experience than we get when we're swinging around as the Spider-Men, when the citizens are cheering us on. As Venom, everyone could be running away in terror. And I think in combat, we could see maybe slower combat, but way heavier combat. He could play more as a brute. A punch might take longer to land, but when it does, man, that enemy is just going to go flying. Takedown executions could be way more brutal and way more satisfying. It was recently confirmed that Spider-Man 2 is T for teen, so it wouldn't be anything too crazy, and I actually am glad that they're keeping it on that level, just because I think that Spider-Man as a character should be pretty inclusive to players of all ages. With that being said, you definitely can take a darker tone when you're playing as Venom, even in a T-rated game. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about, which is the Traversal, but before I get into that, I just want to say if you've enjoyed the video up to this point, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this in the future. But let's go ahead and jump into Traversal. Now, the Spider-Man games obviously feature the Spider-Man web swinging, wall running, and I think that, like I mentioned, you could do something similar with Venom, but you could almost amp it up to feel like it's on steroids. Maybe rather than web swinging, Venom just has very powerful jumps. Like in a single bound, you could leap between like 6 buildings or something, and then you could crash and they could have some cool particle effect where dust flies up and cracks appear in the concrete where you landed, and then you can just turn it into an immediate next jump where you jump just as far, and they could emphasize jumping rather than swinging. An example that's coming to my mind is the destructible environments in Batman Arkham Knight when you were driving the Batmobile around, how like if you went through the corner of a building, the whole corner of the building would just crumble. I think that if New York City reacted like that to Venom traversing it, it would just really help you feel the power of that character. Now, I'm going to stop before I get myself too excited and get my hopes too high for this possibility because, again, it hasn't even been confirmed. It's very likely that Venom will not be a playable character, but I'm certainly not ruling anything out. And even if not in Spider-Man 2, I think there's always potential for a DLC or a smaller standalone title like Miles Morales down the road where we do. So now it's your turn. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what you would like to see if Venom is playable in Spider-Man 2 or in the future in Insomniac's Spider-Man universe. Let me know what you'd like to see from the combat, from the traversal, maybe from the stealth or takedowns and executions. What would you like the story to be? Where would you like to see him be playable? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Again, please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one.